Yo guys, in this video we're going to be talking about the hero release schedule for Rivals and the problem that I currently have with it. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So what are my problems with the current hero release schedule? One is that for whatever reason they thought it was a smart business decision to release 3 whole DPS before supports even got their 10th hero, under the assumption that Rogue is first phase. If Rogue is second phase, that would make it 4 whole DPS before supports got their 10th hero. And as a support main, that is primarily the reason why I'm burnt out and why I'm gonna play Overwatch for a while, is because my main role doesn't get anything. And I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way. And to be real with you, they put a lot more effort into designing DPS heroes than they do any other role in this game. To give you guys examples, let's look at the animations for Daredevil versus Angela. 2 characters released in the same exact season. The animation for the basic attack for Angela is 1 stab. That's it. The cool part is her axe form, which she has actually some pretty cool animations. But then we look at Daredevil, and what the hell is that? Like, he has all types of animation going everywhere. He has 2 different forms that he can click this, do this thing, or have a dash that resets on kill. Like, all of that stuff, it just doesn't exist in the other roles. And then you compare Daredevil and Blade, which I would argue are really well designed characters, and you compare it to Ultron, and you're just like, okay, this character objectively looks way worse and more boring than the other 2 characters. Viability aside, just fun factor alone, Ultron just is significantly more boring than Blade or Daredevil looks. So that's kind of like the main issue. They put so much effort into designing really fun DPS characters and releasing so many DPS characters that the people who love playing support and tank just don't want to play it anymore. That's why matchmaking sucks, in my opinion, is because the people who would be playing those roles are just not wanting to play it anymore. I love playing support in almost every single game, but I just cannot be bothered to play a support in a game where they just don't give my role characters. And yeah, it's pretty miserable to play. That is my current issue with the hero release schedule that they have currently. Whatever they have right now planned, they need to rework some characters to just fit demand. Just rework characters that you have right now to fit demand. I don't care what it is, you just have to do it. The game does not need more DPS characters. And for me, I don't see the point of adding more DPS characters if half of them are going to be mid. Like Mr. Fantastic, mid, but Torch, really good. Phoenix, really good. Blade, not that great. And is Daredevil going to be good, or is he going to be bad? For me, let's hypothetically say Daredevil is going to be mid. He's not going to be the greatest. Why would you add another mid DPS when you could add a tank? And at least a mid tank is another tank option for tank players to play. But that is not the case. They just continue to add more DPS to the game, and there are characters in the DPS role that could have easily been added to the other roles, and it would have made sense. Let me list those characters now. So for tank, what two DPS characters do I think they could have added to tank to make it make sense? Well, the first one being Mr. Fantastic. When I heard Mr. Fantastic was coming to the game and I saw his trailer, if I removed the whole came in as a duelist part and I saw his whole form, I'd be like, oh wow, this character is really tanky. Instead of making a hybrid tanky DPS character, why not just make them an actual tank? They're not as good as an actual tank, so you wouldn't want to run a solo Mr. Fantastic frontline against an actual frontline. So just make Mr. Fantastic a tank. He's already kind of operating as one. He's just not as good as an actual tank. So what's the reasoning for not just making him a tank in the first place? The next character that I think could have been a tank easily could have been Wolverine. His entire thing in the comics, as well as in shows, and not shows, but movies and stuff, is depicted as a person who can tank hits, right? He has regeneration. It makes sense for him to be a character that's tanky, and he is tanky as a DPS. You might say, oh, well, he's short, and so his hitbox would be too small. They somehow managed to make Angela and Emma Frost tanks too, so they can make him wider, they can make him beefier, and they can still make him short. There's short and stocky people too. So it's like, it's not impossible for them to rework him, or like they could have made Wolverine a tank. Another thing is for support characters that they could have made that could have easily been supports. And again, they're not called healers, they're called supports. And who operates as a support right now in comp or as a DPS? Storm. Storm operates basically as a second like damage boost source if you don't want to run Mantis or something, or if Mantis is banned, which is why in pro play they ran Storm Punisher because of the damage boost. So instead of her being a DPS character, they could have made her a support. Another character or two characters that could have made sense as support characters are Wanda as well as Phoenix. Let's be real here. Instead of Wanda being the consistent worst DPS every single time, she could have been a support character that would have probably seen more play, to be honest with you. And Phoenix, her whole identity is resurrection, regeneration, bringing people back to life, that type of stuff. Like, that pretty much screams support. And like, instead of making her a Hela clone, they could have made her a really fun support. But no, they decided to make her a DPS character. Another character that I feel like would have made sense as a support could have been Iron Fist. Iron Fist also has the ability to heal people in lore. You can look it up. He has the ability to channel chi into other people and be able to heal them. I'm pretty sure in the show he also healed somebody. I'm pretty sure. So like, he does have the capability to heal someone, and even right now he has a team up that allows him to heal. So clearly he has the capabilities to heal. Phoenix even has the ability to self-heal herself in game. So it's like, these characters could have easily been in the other roles, but for whatever reason they decided, oh, you know what, we'll just keep adding more DPS to the game. So that is my main issue with a lot of the stuff that I have with Rivals, is that they don't evenly spread out the hero releases. And in a game where you need tank and supports, you can't win a game with all DPS. You can't just cater to DPS players. That's why there's such a hostile community. Whenever a new hero gets announced or is leaked, any person who is like, oh, this character would be fun as a support or tank, every single person is just like, nah, they would make more sense as a DPS character. And you're like, okay, but why? Oh, it's because they don't heal in lore. And then you bring up someone like Loki or Ultron, and then they're just like, well, Loki uses magic, so. And I'm like, okay, by that logic, Strange could be a support. Phoenix and Wanda could be a support. And they're like, well, they don't heal people. And I'm like, Loki doesn't heal people either. And then they have no response to that. They provide an argument for Ultron. I'm like, okay, so why is Ultron in support? Because he last time tried to kill the entire planet. So what makes him a support character? They're like, well, he's controlled by Iron Man, so that means that he gets the ability to heal people. And he's like, okay, so even if he is controlled by someone, what in his kit allows him to heal people? And they're like, well, you know, Stark designed it so that he could heal people. It's like, okay, by that logic, Iron Man could also build a suit for himself to be able to heal people. But it's like, it's always rules for thee and not for me when it comes to deciding what character should be a support or a tank or DPS in this game. And most of the time it's, oh, this character should be a DPS. But when you try to argue the opposite on why a certain character that doesn't typically heal is in a support role, they run all the excuses to be like, oh, well, this character does this character does this, they could potentially do this, we can assume that they would do this. In reality, they don't. And it's like, okay, going back to Loki real quick. Loki in lore can heal, but he only has self-regeneration. He doesn't have the ability to heal someone else. Just as he uses magic does not mean he uses it to heal other people, even if he had the power to do so. Do you think Loki would heal somebody? I don't think so. I personally don't think Loki would heal somebody, even if he could. Alright, that's gonna do it for this video. If you guys have some characters that you guys would love to see in the game but are told constantly they don't belong in anything else but DPS, feel free to leave them down in the comment section. If you guys are wondering what characters I would personally want as a support in this game, I would love to have Silk or Spider-Gwen as a support, White Fox as a support, Silver Surfer as a support character, Mysterio, Green Goblin, just to name a few, Valkyrie. Characters like that I would just love to see in the support role. So feel free to let me know what y'all's hero wish list are for this game, and I will be glad to come and see the suggestions down in the comment section. Let's get wacky with it, bro. Suggest some things that would not make sense. I think it'd be funny. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.